welcome everybody to your favorite, um, not RJP Stockwatch on the platform. It's Spellbound Survivor Stockwatch. I am one of your hosts, Jacob Armstrong, here with my co-host Jared Voorhees, with a devastating lack of celebrity or special guests. Unfortunately, we tried to extend Tawny's contract to maybe another episode, but we may have to get around to getting her for another episode down the road. So, Jared, talk to me about how you feel about round six. We saw Tommy get sent home, second swap. How do you feel?
It, I mean, this was the first round of the second swap. We got to see some new interactions, but also old people coming together. Um, and we finally saw Tommy get voted out. I mean, finally, because he somehow, escaped getting voted out time after time. So he finally ran out of lives. So it was interesting to see. And then the possibility of things happening that didn't happen. We had a carrot dangled in front of us. To reference our episode title.
Oh gosh, my goodness, the singlest carrots, these people. There's so many clues and hints that I would not have drawn to these conclusions. But take it to this cast that after I say that I eliminate Vuluvu off the board because their perverted minds immediately go to something else of the female anatomy, for them to then their perversion to cost them in this challenge as well. It's like, when will they learn, Jared? I don't think that they will. But yeah, no, we potentially a predictable destination, but a very fun and interesting journey getting there. That's a round that might be boring to spectate from a production perspective. In some regards, for the fact like, oh, this could have shit could have went down. But I think, that can be salvaged by the journey being fun and interesting enough. With that being said, I just kind of want to get this person out the way since my man is on a column or a row, all on his own. J1. And I will go first, and I'm gonna essentially talk about J1's prospects on his new tribe, because really, basing off of what he did this round, was exist. He
Exactly.
he breathed. He sent a Shima gif. He said, me and the producers are gonna need to have a little talk. That was his contribution of the round. And he tried to get a confession with me. I couldn't do it. Sorry, J1, if you're watching this. J1, I know he wanted to swap onto Raluve, but Baravi is a better outcome for him. Because I know that J1 said of the Baravi people, he wanted to replace either Aaliyah or Mikey. Either or going home would be fine. But I feel like Tommy going is even like better for his game personally. I think that's probably the best outcome on the board, even including Aaliyah, which we'll get to her when we talk about Baravi and her treacherous spot during this round. Because he has that connection with Mikey. He was trying to plant some seeds, trying to get him onto his side. He wanted Mikey as a side piece, agreeing that he wanted to link up with Morgan if they were ever to meet together, and really like selling himself up as someone who can work with Mikey long term. So Mikey going not going is great. Aaliyah is of course a threat, but might also be the substitute for Morgan, if you will, at least from Mikey's perspective, just being like, oh, well, I'm also connected with Aaliyah, so we could potentially use her as a number, which oh, she might be low on allies because again, I do not want the round seven immunity challenge to affect the stock rankings at all, and they will not. But I think are more so amends for things to come, when we inevitably do have to do that person stock. I think J1 swapped into a great position. Not the most powerful one, could arguably be because he's close with Bryant. I think he locked in the second he saw that Tommy got voted off, immediately got on a call with Bryant, linked up, confirmed their final two, and could have run the table if they were to go to tribal council, which they ended up not going to, round seven. So he gets to keep that idol in his pocket. Has Bryant, has a Zap gun, close ally as well, hasn't needed to do or prove anything, aside from voting off Aston, which allowed him to turn on the idol to the bananas. So he is fine, at least in the short term with those people. I guess unless Sanam really feels perturbed by him and really wants him gone for some reason, which would be dumb. And she might not be there to do something about it. I feel like I'm gonna give him a plain five. Like the stock is really much due to where I could see him fitting. I feel like five is fair. I should give him a one, but like that I think ones and twos are reserved for like bad gameplay, like or for people in very dangerous positions. He had the whole week. He was safe. He was chill. He just couldn't strengthen his social bonds, but he immediately went to work. He tried to make up for lost time. So I give J1 a lot of credit for that.
I mean, you've pretty much said everything that you can about Jaewon and his few days of vacation. Um, yeah, I mean, Baravi was probably the better tribe for him to swap on just because, like, yes, he could have been reunited with Lily and Edward, which I think is probably why he wanted to go to Reluve. But Sanam's there, who maybe would have wanted to target him, but Sam's not in the greatest position on that tribe to take the shot. But Lily would have probably been more open to take the shot at Jay. So he would have been more danger there. At Baravi, replacing Tommy, like I kind of view that tribe as like more open with how things are going. Because like obviously you have Bryant, Jeremy, Kevin who are locked in together, but then shit kind of went down between those three that it kind of loosened up their grip on the game. Mikey and Aaliyah are still like, locked in together. So, but Jay, I think Jay already has a connection to Mikey, which helps. So long-winded way of saying, I think he obviously didn't do anything bad this round because he couldn't do anything this round. So I think the five is what you have to give him. It's dead to the middle.
And no, so like it's so I'm really happy for J1 that he's made it. Well, now I guess technically now has made it to the merge. I was worried for him, attending that first tribal council because his position, while on paper was really good, was relatively rocky. And now we're seeing not just Lily, but also Sanam now as well, kind of maybe sharing some of those sentiments. And now they're on the same tribe, could potentially link up and share in that mutual distrust or distrust of J1. I think one of them is word. One of them is definitely a word that is grammatically appropriate in that sense. But moving on from J1, we can move on over to one of Raluve or Baravi. If you want, we could do Raluve first, go in alphabetical order, and then do the snake draft again, go to Baravi because they went to tribal council.
I like what we have been doing of let's start with the winning tribe and then go to the losing tribe.
So since we're starting on the winning tribe, you tell me how you feel about Caleb.
I mentioned this in our prod chat. Caleb's streak of being top rated in his tribe continued for this round, which, for being the first round of swap is really impressive. And really, he didn't have any competition in the trust rankings. Like the next, he was at a 1.4 in the trust rankings. The next highest was tied at a 2.6. So, a 1.2 margin in between. The lowest that he got was a 2 in trust rankings, which, if you think about it, that's crazy to get. Like, who gets that? Um, I mean, obviously he's well connected on the tribe. He's kind of like what Lily was on um Baravi 2.0, like kind of in the middle, but he's kind of leaning more towards working with Sergio and Ryu, mainly probably more Ryu. Um, who did he? Oh, he put Edward as number one. That's crazy. Um, Ryu too. Okay. Um, but still, like he has a lot of options on his tribe, and I think everyone would want to work with him. So he's like in the same position that he has been, and it's kind of like we're kind of repeating everything we've been saying for Caleb. He continues his grip on the game. and is just done really well at it. He has his idol, he has his mirror, hasn't told anyone about it to my knowledge. So, um, what did sorry, I'm referencing last round. I probably have to give him another 8, like continuing what he's been doing.
This is the second time I've earnestly considered giving someone a 10 in the Stockwatch, and I feel like he has been the only because he hasn't been how do I put this? Because I know that we've compared, we've said that a couple other players I have been accused of coasting in the game, having done enough work, at least with their initial tribe, so when they swap onto favorable swaps with their numbers, they don't really need to do much. They don't need to venture off and forge any other meaningful connections. With literally the people who swapped onto Ralavi 2.0 minus J1 really did not need to. They had only J1 knew that they had to meet. They replaced Jeremy and Morgan with just a stranger, essentially. So players like Kevin, a player like Bryant, for example, like are well, I guess Kevin, I think more so, has been putting a lot of stock into the bananas in their core lines. But Caleb has not really just been stuck with his OG people. He swapped with Tommy and actually seemed to have been heavily considering or leaning towards getting rid of Tommy had they lost on Vuluvu 2.0. He is now forging these bonds with people to where at minimum they're two on these tribes. Now when you get everybody unified, maybe Caleb's rankings are going to drop down a little bit. Maybe he's not going to be anyone's number two just instantly. I think he might be the closest to most people outside of their core majority group. I do think that his core, there are some fractures. There's it's not completely impenetrable. Which not to say that I think any of these are. I think all, which technically now when Tommy Gang sent home, it's 4-4-4 all OG tribes. And for the most part, they have all kind of loosely been aligned with each other in one way or another. Um, and Caleb, obviously linking up with Ryu and Sergio again, re-solidifying those bonds. He's charming his way with Edward, Lily, and Sanam as well. Um, I really don't have any notes on what he's doing poorly. Like you said, he has the mirror, has the idol, is not telling anybody about it. And can, for all we know, he may not need this, and by the time he does need it, it'll be the last possible time to use these advantages. I'm gonna give him, I'm gonna give him a 9, just because I feel like he's been impeccable all season long, and with the two people who are the big dogs of their OG respective tribes. Like the ceiling is all the way up here, but actually, Caleb's the only one reaching it right now. At least just looking at this round, like Caleb has continued to be one of, if not the most dominant player socially.
And I'm even like thinking about it, like going looking at other people's ratings. Caleb is gonna be like the person who I compare other people to for like it's like for to get an 8, are you playing as good as Caleb? And even for it, I might change it to a 9 eventually. Who knows? But right now I'm gonna stick at the 8. I would have to think about it more, but also if you think long term for round 8, um, just hypothetically, if he gets, to live night merge, um, there's only 3 people I believe who he hasn't spoken to yet, which is Bryant, Kevin, and Jay. Wait, have him and Mikey spoken? Did they?
No, I don't think they have. So it's
Okay,
4, I guess.
4, but still, he has a good amount of people who he's at least talked to, which I bet, there's probably some combination of like most people. But yeah, I just feel like he's in a really good spot, and I'm teetering on giving him a 9, but I want us to talk through more people so I can compare Caleb's game to them to see if I want to increase it in case I want to give out like any other 8s.
That's fair. I kind of like because for the context, we're recording this after the round seven immunity challenge. So we know who is going. I've already mentioned who's going to tribal council. It's Caleb's tribe. But we're not taking that heavily into account as to the Stockwatches. We're confining it to just the happenings that happened during round six, during the first 3 days of the new swap. Um, but yeah, no, just like I've tried to since Tommy got voted off, like kind of give a rough idea of who I'm going to give stocks to each person. And I don't know if I'm giving anyone else. I mean, there's someone else I have pretty high estimates, but people are pretty rocky, like in the middle of this round. Lots of six and sevens, maybe.
I mean, I feel like we've been giving out six and sevens like candy.
We're gonna get
But
fives. There'll be fives.
oh, and probably some fives.
Yeah,
Actually, probably only I can't really only one, maybe one. I don't know.
yeah.
Um, but also I don't think I spoke upon Tommy leaving for Caleb was probably a good thing
Hmm.
to help the threat of their original tribe diminish a little. But also it, that just means that Caleb did not take the shot himself, and someone kind of did his dirty work for him, even though they're not like on jury. Um, but I think Tommy was, thinking Caleb would be very upset that he's gone, but it's not bad for him whatsoever that Tommy left. So
I don't know if Caleb was genuinely shocked because I know afterwards, like, oh my gosh,
I
Tommy got out.
I don't
Oh,
think
oh,
he
wow.
was.
But then, like Ryu would say, I saw that from a mile away, and Caleb was like, LMFAO, real, real for that. But we move on to Edward, and Edward is such an enigma that I can't seem to put my finger on. Trust ranking wise, he
He was tied for second.
oh, okay, good. Thank you for doing that for muffle, muffle. I think I was looking at the trust rankings and I had round six, I had two round sixes. So I was looking at the wrong one that was supposed to be round seven.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I'm looking at Edward. So like on one hand, ties in trust rankings does pretty good, but he's all over the place with these trust rankings. He has Caleb and Lily both putting him at number one, which is really impressive. Possibly because like maybe Caleb and Edward have like a pre-existing relationship that maybe I wasn't cognizant to. I know that they've both played Power Grab before. I don't know if they played together per se. They've known each other
but they
elsewhere.
would, but that familiarity with each other helps because, at least, Edward's on prod for it. So like you kind of already feel like more comfortable
I'm
with,
dumb. They literally swapped. I forgot they met on swap. So even if it wasn't
oh,
that
that too.
I was about to say, I was like, for some reason I thought they like met for the first
I
time, which
forgot.
which makes a lot of sense. Um, so that's pretty good. But then and he's second on Sergio's trust rankings, but then is fourth for Ryu, fifth for Sanam as Sanam's target here, which considering that she has an idol and he doesn't, does make things a little bit concerning for Edward, because he doesn't go to tribal here, but he is going to tribal council soon. Um, I think that considering that he's well liked enough, this requires for him to seriously get sent home just by like just regular means, straight up receives the majority of the votes, he gets sent home. Then it requires like what Ryu and Sanam and one other person. And for reasons that we will discuss when we get to Ryu and Sanam, I don't think people will want to do what Ryu or Sanam want to do this, right? For different reasons. So it's like Edward, I think, is in a pretty is a is a workable spot. He can work with this. It could be a lot worse. Looking just at simply just like the tribes of it all, he does have Lily, who I think Lily is Edward is for sure Lily's locked in number one. That is her person. But also that is a pretty precarious spot because now this would be the third tribal council, well actually fourth that Lily has attended. In the last two tribal councils, Lily's closest ally got sent home. So if the curse of getting close to Lily continues, then Edward might be in danger. Um, but I got nothing really to say. I gotta give him the sixes start. This is when the Stockwatch goes downhill. But Jared, what do you feel about Edward?
If I'm going to talk about round seven. If at Tribal Edward goes home, Lily's number one is cursed. Because I think that happened three times. Three. Morgan, Issa, and then Edward. So you don't want to be Lily's number one. Um, I mean, everything you said is exactly right. Like, I feel like he's played like a more quiet game, but for some reason, Sanam just has a hatred of this person. I don't understand it. She doesn't understand his sarcasm, like in messages. And like I'm reading and I'm like, oh, I understand that he's being sarcastic here and just joking. But then Sanam's like, why would you say this? And I'm like, it's a fucking joke. You just are overthinking this. I don't know what it is. Um, it's kind of bad to have an enemy of the person who has an idol, but he doesn't know that she has the idol. Um,
No, he does.
oh yeah, he
Because
does.
of Jeremy. Yeah, he leaked it to
That's
Lily,
right.
I'm pretty sure. Um he is no, I just remember Sonam sent this and Draft's like, what the fuck? Like Draft also didn't get it, which didn't help matters thing.
Yeah, she was feeding into the delusion. I was like, what? It's so obvious he's being sarcastic. Um, well, okay, I'll change my statement then. I don't think he knows that Sanam, well, he actually has Sanam ranked five. I don't know, these two are like oil and water, end of the day. But, I mean, it's like you said, he's kind of an enigma. He's kind of there. I don't think he doesn't seem like he's making big moves, but he's making good social connections with really like everyone else. Like he has Lily, Caleb trusts him. Um, Sergio seems to trust him. So because he's doing a good job, I think I have to agree with the six.
Honestly, like I'm really happy, because this is a guy who like could have gotten home ages ago. Like Sir Edward
He
or
could have gone home
somebody.
instead of Issa.
Exactly. Like he could have been gone and we wouldn't have seen him do his honestly, like I'm not gonna say like he's doing like a phenomenal, an amazing, stupendous job or anything, and he's doing well enough, and I feel like those are the kind of players who end up skating by, kind of like slipping under the radar as like someone who isn't being offensive to anybody, who kind of
Except for
isn't,
Sanam.
yeah, like except for Sinner, but like it seems like a good chunk of the tribe. It's in the Edward versus Sanam of it all is on Team Edward, which like good for them, It's just like it's like Twilight. But we move on to the leader, the president of Team Edward. We move on to Lily. But Jared, your thoughts on Lily?
Lily, like this is Lily's most interesting swap. I'm just gonna give umbrella for swap, mainly just this tribe, because in the past she's been number one always on the tribe. She has these really good connections, but she's coming into swap, round one swap with Ryu, the man who pissed her off so much at the last tribal that they attended. So she's going into this round, she's not happy. I don't think she's still happy with him. I think she's playing nice with him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think
No,
she's
you're not. You're not.
okay, good. I'm glad I still have that read. She's playing nice with Rio. I think Ryu thinks that like he he knows what's best for Lily's game, and that's for them to work together. But Lily won't be scared to take the shot at Ryu, and she will gladly do it at any moment she can. You say we want to shoot Ryu, she'll be like, I'll be first in line. Like she will gladly do it. Um, but looking at the trust rankings, she has her number one Edward. That's great. But again, he might be cursed. We're gonna find that out. But then otherwise, she's literally threes other than that. So that's an interesting position. Um, I don't think we can kind of, going to tribal this next round because we can kind of speak upon it. Um, I don't think she's really in danger. I don't think that if Sanam were to play the idol, Sanam's going to target Lily, so that's good for her. I don't think Ryu is going to flip on Lily because he thinks that it's best in Hurricane to keep him. Her and Sergio, I believe, still get along. She rated Sergio third, so she still has trust in Sergio. Um, so she's in a good position still, but just not as good as Caleb. Um, so she's kind of like a tier above coasting, where she's like made good social connections, but they aren't like super strong. Um, God, I'm thinking about doing something I didn't think I would do for Lily. I'm
Oh,
debating seven.
that I key. I can go and tell you why I give Lily the stock I was about to give her.
Put her at a seven for me. It pains me to do it, but I'll listen to you.
No, because I was also gonna give Lily a seven because like it's like you said, it's threes on the board. Can go better, can get worse. You know, like she has enough room to improve and strengthen her position as she has as much room to worsen her position. I think for her to immediately see the tribe, I think she understood the game plan. You have to play nice with Ryu because Ryu is again back in power. Um, like just looking at tribes of it all. She again is reunited with Edward, which is good. And if I'm not mistaken, it's mutual, which is a very underrated. Like that's what you want. You don't want just like somebody whom implicitly trusts you that you're just like, there's someone else I care more about this person. It's mutual. Both of them trust each other more than anybody else. At least on the tribe. I don't know if like when Jeremy gets involved, like how that messes with Edward's trust rankings and whatnot. But like at least right now, that's a mutually agreed upon. Edward trusts me. I trust him. That's my guy. I'm his girl. We just ride it out. Um, and the fact that she's tied for second is impressive in and of itself because after she confesses to Sergio that she was going to vote him off, and obviously after blowing up at Ryu, three is incredibly generous out of five. So like she has found a way of pacifying Ryu enough so that Ryu, even despite the fact that in his project he's saying like, oh, like she should be doing all this, it's just like, but in a way to where it's like Ryu knows Lily will gun for her at some point. The fact that he trusts her enough to not want her gone, to not have seemed to for Lily to not have been his target, seemingly, if they went to tribal council. And we'll see if that sticks. Now that they are, I think is really impressive. She is swapped with a couple people whom she has not met yet, which, if this was earlier on in the game, could have been competing with Edward for a number one spot. I figured Lily and Sanam would hit it off. I figured Lily and Caleb would hit it off. Yeah, and again, these have been the three people we were looking at as
And they kind of
contenders from
have.
the exactly like they all have. I mean, threes is not shabby for somebody whom you're just like meeting for the first time. Like I think that, and we're already starting to see some plants being seeded, some chats kind of loosely being talked about being made. And so Lily is making her moves and should be good to make it to merge. Um, but it's just yet to be seen because we're about to go soon. I don't know if you have anything else to add on about Lily. I'm just double, triple, quadruple checking stuff. Um, so let's talk about Ryu. Let's talk about this man right here. Um, So he makes the big boom boom move. And he reunites with Caleb, his future fusion pal. Um, he contemplates throwing the challenge, which for most people, for lots of people, I'd say, what the hell is wrong with you? And I would be on Caleb's team. But with the way that these targets are starting to develop, I don't think throwing the challenge or definitely this one specifically that he did, I guess he consider that throwing. But wasn't the worst move for him because we have Edward and Sanam. You have them gunning for each other. Edward because Sanam has an idol. Sanam because Edward's apparently um sandpaper to talk to. Sandpaper in the ass to talk. I don't know. Like just Sanam hates Edward for some reason. And yes, Lily may want to do something, but will she have the numbers to do so would be the tricky thing. Um, Especially with Caleb and Ryu both. No, Caleb having advantages in Stowe if things were to take a turn for the worse, at least better their odds at a 3-3 split. Um, Ryu's trying to do his best, trying to link up with some people. And while he's not the least trusted, he's the second least trusted of this tribe, with a 3.7, which you'd argue is not close. But aside from Caleb, no one really cares about him on this tribe. Like, I think if people are just simply just gunning for who they have at their number five, then it wouldn't be Ryu catching most of the votes. But when you're like the second last person and someone tells you that is the plan, most people would just picking and choosing the battles would say, all right, that's fine. I can work with that. I can work with that. We can vote off Ryu. That's fine. So his position is still not the greatest, which stinks because again, like we've been singing his praises for a good chunk of the Stockwatch series. I am going to give him a four. I considered five, considered three. I decided to me in the middle. I'm going to do a four, 4.0. No decimal added. How do you feel?
I mean, Rio had a big task this round to build, he had to rebuild connections with people, and also he had to fight off the stories being told, about Last Tribal from Sergio and from Lily. Um, and so, and I think that he did an okay job. I mean, his trust ranking score is really helped by Caleb because literally, other than that, he's got fourth, other than 1-5 from Lily. Um, so I don't, he's overinflating his position in the tribe, which is also interesting when you look at the trust rankings that Sergio put him at four. Like Sergio, the person who Rio is probably who did
The person he saved.
the person he saved, who he ranked as number two, is rating him four. So I think that he thinks that he's in a better position than he is in the tribe. And then especially after this round seven, I don't know people's on we can't get into that, but like I don't know people's reaction to it on his tribe and their true thoughts. Um, but he hasn't like he's done a little good, but I don't know if it's like a lot good. Um, I think that solely based off of this round, I'll give him a three, just because he's like slowly like undigging his grave.
And now this next round, he found himself another grave, which
He undid all his progress
yeah,
and
pretty much
and made it deeper.
he's a one step forward, two steps back kind of guy. You know, we've
Yes.
all encountered it. Maybe he'll find another way to. I don't know how he makes it worse. 'Cause I don't know what the next two steps back could be. Maybe well, I don't know, convincing someone to quit. I don't. I guess that would be worse. Um, but his he's not completely doomed. Because
No,
again,
he's
the thing
not.
that we're talking about, he is safe. He can't go home. He is at the merge now. But someone who is in lots of danger is Sunan. And you can go first because my ranking is close to Ryu's for very different reasons.
It just pains me that Sanam. just isn't gelling with this tribe because this is my hypnotic winner. Like I love Sunham. She's great. Like we got got along so well in hypnotic. So like I'm really rooting for her. Of course I know of a lot of this cast, so but having just played a game with Sanam, I'm like biased towards her because I love the game that she played and I know how capable of a player she is. But it's just she's on such a bad tribe for her. And for whatever reason, they just aren't gelling. Um, she's rated last in trust rankings, which she's really just gone downhill in trust rankings. Um, if she can make merge, then she can hopefully get back together with the bananas and ride that out a little and maybe hopefully start building some new connections off of that. But for just this round, um, I mean, I'm kind of shocked Caleb has her low. I'm not shocked Edward has her low. I think Lily, she has potential to build up more with. Um, like I think she could easily pass Sergio for her number three spot, but then cracking that top two, I think would be hard. Um, then Sergio has her last. Yeah, I don't know. They just this oil and water is this tribe with Sanam. I don't know what it is. She's hard to rank because she's really not in a good position whatsoever. And it's not from the she's doing her positioning in this tribe is literally from no fault of her own. She's not doing anything wrong. It's just she's become kind of like Morgan, where it's Morgan, Barabi 1.0 didn't gel with Morgan and no good connection can form. But Sanam is actually trying. I'm not saying Morgan wasn't trying, but Morgan was like taking it easy, kind of like coasting because they were winning early immunities. Sanam's trying to make connections, but nothing's sticking. But she's also like not really pissing people off, kind of like how like a Tommy was doing it like early round. So she's not making mistakes. Um, so God, I'm debating a four or a three X. Like
I was debating a two at some point. So
I
like
was, so was I.
because here's the thing, like Sanam got and got swap screwed. She has not met any of these people yet in this game. She had swapped on to like what is on paper an amazing configuration of all Baravi people, or at least a good chunk of her core, and two potential easy boots for very different reasons. Aston, for activity, J1 just because the tribe of it all. Um, but here has not met any of these people yet. Which had she maybe starting on a tribe with a Lily, starting on a tribe with a Caleb, starting on a tribe with an Edward, really any of these people, I think they probably could have and probably would have hit it off. Um, and this is why I keep harping on the fact that Caleb, Lily, and Sanam were the contenders of the early stages of the game because on each of their tribes they were socially the most well insulated, the most extroverted, the most charismatic, whichever adjective you think is best fit for them. Um, and Sanam being here and being in the position that she's in is less so to do with her actively playing poorly, but it's more so just like people being scared of her. And I've been talking about this, like how she needs to manage her relationship with Kevin better, like within her alliance, because Bryant was catching on to this. Bryant was contemplating making a really big move even during the Aston boot, and very much likely does make that move if they were to go to tribal council or tries to make that move again if they were to go back again. Um, but here there's people saying that, oh, I watched you in Hypnotic, you were really good. And so name's like, no, I'm not that good. I crashed out. So trot on a daily basis, I swear, which it's true. But I put her fourth in power rankings for a reason. Clearly, she is a great player, great socially, has a sometimes has a great mind strategically, and is a pretty solid competitor, is a very well-rounded versatile player. And lots of people are clocking this. Ryu was like, oh no, she's way too good. I can't, she can't, she needs to go soon. Like people are already aware of how dangerous Sanam can be long term. And this might be the opportunity to take her out. Edward's already throwing the fact that she has an idol under the bus, and I think that's now common knowledge on this tribe. So either she's pressured to use it here, or she might be placated and babysat until the round seven tribal council, which because they lost, so that she doesn't play it, and then she gets sniped with an idol in her pocket. Um, if she makes it out of here, then all good for her. She can link up with some of her allies. But what's even worse for Shanam is the fact that now it's not just Bryant looking at the banana sideways, because Jeremy also this round started to be like frustrated with the alliance. Um, and I don't want to take too much stock into this, but I do, no pun intended. But this is very important because after the challenge, I had a little mini confessional with Jeremy, and I asked him if there's anybody you would take out of this game. Absolutely no repercussions whatsoever. He says he's already looking at Sinead. Like even despite like Bryant and Kevin being the subject of his frustrations this round, Sanam is not immune from this either. So like Sanam is in lots of danger. Her core alliance is crumbling around her, and she is not aware of this fact at all. And neither is Kevin. And we'll get to Kevin when we fucking get there. But Sanam is not actively trying to do things, but it's just kind of just happening to her. Um, I considered a two for this last fact, especially, which otherwise I would have given her a three or a four. Um, I've been teetering on all of those rankings, and Sanam's probably one of, if not the hardest person to rank, because if it's a four, it's because it's absolutely no fault of her own that she's in the position that she's in. Unlike Ryu, who had done stuff, especially just this last round, to put him in the adversarial position that he's in right now, where Sanam really isn't. She just got swap screwed. Which, like, if this was the second swap, I think she could have managed to escape by because she would have had the opportunity to build all these great, amazing, phenomenal bonds. And maybe she survives in this. She needed to be in danger here to build up some of these relationships. But for right now, I'm actually I'll give her a three because she was in more danger. I said that's again the middle ground. I contemplated four, contemplated two, and the middle gave her a
Hmm.
three
Um, I mean, she got really lucky that they won immunity this round, but now it's, already flipped to where
because of the whole.
because of the whole. Um, so she, it's like I'm really comparing her game to Ryu's game just because of it being, if I give her a three and I gave Ryu a three, it's like I'm saying that they played a similar game, but it's like Ryu did this to himself, Sanam didn't, but they both are screwed. So I think I have to agree with the three.
If you told me that after what Ryu did the round prior, that I would rank anyone from his tribe lower, I say, shut the fuck up. Don't fucking lie to me. Don't. I'm not stupid. I'm not an idiot. But like, it's just unfortunately just what happens. Like if it was a two, it would have been because of like the Jeremy of it all. I'm not considering that because again, like Sanam had no control over that whatsoever. That's maybe this is in the air. I don't know if Sanam will find it or Jeremy is particularly interested in finding that. But because of Jeremy's frustrations with Bryant and Kevin, there could be a conversation between a Jeremy and Sanam if they were to reunite about their frustrations in the grand scope of things. It may just be like, can we just like link up? Like we're rational, like whatever. It's possible that could be the start of a new duo. But even then, Jeremy's already saying that Sanam is a pretty big threat later down the road and will be a headache of some sort. And the only reason why he doesn't want to get rid of Sanam, at least in the immediate future, is because he's going to deal with the Bryant and Kevin of it all. But let's move on to Sergio and me. I'll go first as the president of the Sergio Stan Club, who has been defending this man for the better half of this, for the first half of this season. And he, okay, let me be objective because I've been talking about like a lot of potential, like just hypotheses of what Sergio or where Sergio can go in this game. But let's talk about reality here. Not the most trusted player on the tribe. Again, not the least trusted. I am the second least trusted person for that matter. One being this really big threat, a bigger threat than him, which is well, actually both are bigger threats or bigger targets for very different reasons. Um, twos, threes, gets a four from Caleb, which is pretty damning. Um, but like not not a position he can't get himself out of. Because with the plan, at least initially, being Sanam going home with an idol in her pocket, um, he could ultimately gain a lot of favor. But Sergio's weighing out all of his options. Sergio's talking about potentially making a trio with Lily and Sanam, which he ultimately ends up doing in round seven, to try to get all the information they can from each of their respective OG tribes. Get something from Sanam, get stat from like the bananas of it all. Lily gets people from Bulavu, and he gets people from Aluve, and they could just be a network of information, which smart and strategically sound pitch of an alliance, a configuration. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a really good idea. Then he'll have Ryu and Caleb. Ryu, who clearly made who exponentially enlarged his target to save Sergio, which Ryu still trusts a lot, and would by doing that can potentially still have Caleb, even though Caleb ranked him the lowest. Which I forgot. I was looking through the trust rankings. I'm like, there's twos and threes. Like, how did the hell did he? Oh, that's what dumped him down. It was Caleb giving him a four. Um, he's making good strides. He could have done what Ryu did, and or like Lily and Ryu obviously are at odds with one another, but he's kind of like not I don't say stoking those flames, but is doing well enough to make it so that Lily has no reason to be mad at Sergio. He's not doing anything to make Lily specifically trust or like be undyingly loyal to him either, but just be like, okay, Sergio's a chill dude. Like I honestly I could respect Sergio more as a play. Like if Ryu and Sergio somehow made final two, I could see Lily voting for Sergio just because like Sergio didn't burn bridges for no reason, it seems. Like Sergio at least did this to save himself, made a big and beneficial move out of it, and was able to talk it out shortly afterwards. Which Lily was like, it seemed like it was a pretty good conversation from the little that I've heard. It happened to take down that VC. But now his long-term prospects is a little bit trickier because I said that there's potential for his placement to be anywhere between 12th and however far he ends up making in reality. Like he could be the final preacher, he could be the merge boo, he could be like a mid merge or mid jury boo, he could be like an end game, like the last person that gets sent to the jury. He could be a finalist. Like I don't know where Sergio's going to go in this game. There's a lot of variance, which makes ranking him very difficult. I but due to the fact he's not in the greatest position, at least on this tribe right here, um no, I gotta give him a five. I could see a world where Caleb might want to pivot and be like, "Oh, I need to protect Edward." And Sanam with this idol might take him out if Sanam plays it. So maybe try to get her to gun for Sergio instead, who's fourth. It's possible. I see that potentially happening.
I don't know. I might be kind of influenced by this current round, even though I feel like I'm always on the loop now. Um, well, it's just hard to when you try to actually focus on work rather than read chats. You feel like you're out of the loop, and then you be social, and then you feel you're very out of the loop on chats, and you're missing out on voice calls. Um, but like again, I might be because of this current round. I'm like warming up to the idea of buying into Sergio and joining it. But I'm being very cautious about it because I think Sergio right now works best in the smaller setting to where he can stoke those flames and build that relationship with people, which is what I think has helped him throughout the game so far. I'm kind of worried about him at merge time. Do I think that he would be the merge boot? I think he could be a contender for that if he's not there. If he's not there, if someone's not there, I think that they are potentially an easy merge boot because they obviously can't defend themselves. And it's like, why are you going to defend someone who's not there? So he could go home then. But then also, I'm worried about him long term because he could, if he needs to solidify more things, but he's doing it slowly, which I like. But then in the bigger setting, I'm just worried about how he will do. But I'm liking the path Sergio is going right now. Um, but I have to think about this round specifically. He just built good relationships. Um, I think we gave him sixes last time. What did we give him? Uh, yeah, we gave him sixes. I think I had to give him a five as well. But like, don't hate what he's doing. It's just the swap has really like affected things.
Like, could be better, could be worse. Like I do think that Sergio could have been in a lot of danger if this wasn't like a 3-2-1 split with him having the three potentially. I think that if he ended up as like the sole one that Sanam is, I don't think he'd be in a better position due to the way that he's been approaching the game socially. I have to look at things objectively and not have my Sergio stay in a pink tinted
Yeah.
glasses, my Reluve tinted glasses on when assessing his game, because as much as potential as I see, will he live up to said potential? It's yet to be seen. If he doesn't make it far, I want on record. I said it. I've made it very clear that he definitely could.
He can. I'm seeing it
People.
more now.
Yeah, so I'm honestly I'm really happy for him. But we got to move on to Baravi. And as per the snake draft rules, we have to go in alphabetical order. But one thing I do want to propose is to potentially do it Tommy, Aaliyah, Mikey, Bryant, Kevin, and this dude. For last, like go back and forth like a ping pong game on each side, or we could just do the
We can
regular.
do ping pong to see how it goes. You'll just have to remind us to do it.
No, no. High key, the way I'm going to forget after we talk about Tommy. Like, that's actually going to be sad. Um, who went first for Serge? You go first for Tommy. Our boot to this round.
Tommy. Um, I mean, he had a very small glimmer of hope this round, but then Jeremy had one conversation with Aaliyah and she didn't express what Jeremy needed to hear to reveal more information. And so that kind of sealed Tommy's fate, weirdly enough. And also, weirdly enough, he got his first one in trust rankings. Um, where did he rank? He was probably still last. Um,
If not, it
Tom,
was solely saved by Jeremy's
no, he was
meme
still
in the book.
last
Okay, yeah.
by like only point 0.2 though, which probably did got helped by Jeremy. Um, is it bad to say that like this probably wasn't Tommy's worst round because I don't think he really did a lot. Um, he made a dumb decision at the very end to try to claim safety without power as his advantage, which I think is one of the dumbest powers to claim to have because people can just easily game that and be like, okay, well, if he has safety without power, then we just vote for this person. But if he doesn't have it, we're still just going to vote him. It doesn't really give you protection. So I don't know why he claimed that. He could have claimed that he had an idol. But again, like Tommy's game. Oh, I don't think Tommy did that bad this round, mainly because I don't think that he could do a lot or cause that much chaos. I don't know. I mean, he was kind of spiraling at the end, but I don't think his spiraling was like that bad as compared to like other rounds. Um, but he was pretty much dead on arrival on this tribe. Is it bad I'm kind of considering like a two? Just
No.
because like he didn't do bad.
Yeah. Like this is like he had there were people not considering getting rid of Tommy. And we'll get to you know, via the ping pong method that I only just for this one round because that would lean that Jeremy is last because I want to end it on like a positive or at least entertaining or interesting to analyze perspective. No, Tommy did like this round was just chill. Like was kind of just like, oh, what are you thinking? Just like whatever you decide, I'll do. Like kind of doing the like preemptively, like also like saying like, look, last time I was at tribal, I was paranoid, I was freaking out. I gotta stop doing that. Which kudos to him for acknowledging, like, look, hey, like this is obviously not the way that I need to be tackling this game moving forward. But there's other means to which he has, either alienated past iterations of tribes or had shown himself to be unreliable or messy or chaotic or manic. In other ways, whether it be like during the challenges, like he's and kind of like rubbing some people the wrong way. The way that he approached the shoot reflect nothing challenge, despite the fact that he had sat out, kind of like how Ryu was getting some flack for his involvement in the whole thing, despite not and actually like you're around, you could have competed, but like you're not. And then the code names of it all as well. There's conversations in the way that he says things that like just I don't know how to put this into words because like now that he's gone, it's not like, oh, these things will eventually catch up to him. These things have. But the round that he ends up getting sent home is one of, if not the chillest round for Tommy. Because but it's also because like he wasn't as active or like because there's whenever I assess people as players, like for power rankings, player rankings, what have you, there's the actively bad players and the passively bad players. The passively bad players are your inacts, the people who aren't doing anything. And I have been go offling back and forth as to which player is worse on paper. And some would argue that the actively bad player is worse because while they have the activity, the propensity to be able to forge these relationships, to actively be in the game, they're constantly doing things that sabotage their efforts and are constantly doing things to piss people off, get people to not trust them, garner suspicion. Like Tommy was doing that and he wasn't, and now it's like it's actively activity wise, he's been on the lower end of things just because of how busy his work schedule was. And then you see his reaction to getting voted off and him just being dumbfounded and frustrated, which I understand being frustrated, being upset that you lost, but for how shocked he seemed, it's like he had no idea the damage he had caused throughout the season. And he had no idea what benefits to him going home were there for people, which granted there were benefits to keeping him around. I will give that to Tommy. There was Jeremy saying that I don't think Tommy's the ideal target here. And we'll get to Kevin and Bryant's, especially Bryant's rationale for getting rid of Tommy here moving forward. But Tommy, just fortunately, I will give him a two, just because I don't think he did nearly as much wrong. But yeah, that lie was pretty dumb. He could have just said idle, and Kevin would have said, "Well, great, fucking piece of info fucking nation to fucking give us in the last fucking second the fucking tribal fucking council." Kevin, that fucking potty mouth over there. What are you gonna give him?
Well, fun fact, Tommy is now two for two by getting voted out by people he played in DCP with. Um,
So that means Brian needs to go home next. That's the curse now. So, well,
But if, obviously Brian can't, but he could still keep my legacy. Um, I had to agree with the two. Like he didn't do bad. I don't blame Bryant for getting rid of him. Um, I think that even though what the time you were Bryant? I'm sorry. Tommy. Okay, he ranked Bryant two. Um, so you could see it as a bad move by Bryant, but Bryant knows Tommy and his chaotic ways, and I don't think it's a bad move. Um, I mean, we'll have to see, but I I don't think it's a bad move on his end right now.
well, no, we'll talk a little bit, elaborate on like where my questions as to whether or not this was the specifically Tommy was the correct call of the three options on the board. I think there's arguments for like think for like all three of them. But with that, we're going to go to another one of those. Actually, we're considering the ping pong method. We are talking about the three options because it'll be Aaliyah and then Mikey. So perfect. We can weigh out them all out right here. We had Aaliyah, who was in danger, not due to activity, not like for the reasons Mikey had been targeted, not for being potentially chaotic and messy for Tommy. Aaliyah was perceived as the option of like she is the best player of the three. She is the person that is the scariest and most threatening long term. Um, and Jeremy, while not strongly wanting Aaliyah gone of the three, that would be his preference. And like honestly, I think Jeremy's reads on the game, not to spend Aaliyah's section glazing Jeremy, but like Jeremy's reads on the game have been very accurate up until this point. So I do think that Aaliyah has some really good connections and people on the on the other tribe, depending on how that tribal goes, that she can relink up with. You know, he has the Caleb, has the Lily, has Edward. I think. Wait, did I say Lily? I just feel like Lily hitting it off with Morgan and Morgan telling Lily about Aaliyah. I think Aaliyah and Lily could link up. That could be a pair I see happening. Aaliyah and Sanam have history. Ryu is somebody whom she could work with. Sergio is kind of like a, if Sergio goes, I don't think Aaliyah's going to bat too much of an eye there. Um, but Aaliyah on this tribe was in a lot of danger. And I will give her credit for doing enough work to charm her way to not be the boot, because a big reason why Tommy got sent home over Aaliyah, at least according to Kevin and Ryan, was because they were more scared that Tommy would make a group to combat them than Aaliyah, which no, he might be quicker to make a chat, but make a chat that will combat them actually serve as like a danger to their game now. Aaliyah has been much more active, has been much more level-headed, and can, for a number of reasons, serve to be a threat to them long down the road. Great player physically, great player socially, great player strategically. Like that is the triple threat right there. And if they were looking at just like who long term is dangerous, most dangerous, it would be Aaliyah. And J1 seems to have been wanting Aaliyah gone. Like literally, pretty much the second he stepped on foot on that tribe, was like, I want Aaliyah gone. Was already talking about J1 being this dangerous, this really good player. Which I don't know what game they played for him to be privy to this, because I know like they played the mini. Um, maybe they played Bodo. I think they played. I think it was Bodo. Yeah, that would make sense. But J1's honor. Kevin thinks she was the one to throw the rogue vote, which she was not. And maybe Kevin knows that junk now, but Jeremy at least is aware that Mikey is just probably the person who threw that vote. Um, I'm gonna give Aaliyah. I'm ranking is tough. You can go and maybe that will affect my ranking because there's a couple of people.
I mean, looking from the outside in, she should have been in this round guaranteed like rocks in a sense. I say in a sense just because like I think she should have had like three votes going, like her vote, Mikey's vote, and then Tommy's vote. If you slowly look at it from the outside to keep her safe, if her name was the one actually being thrown out. Um, so that's good. But were her and Jeremy together previous swap?
Yes, they were.
Okay. So she brings that connection in, but Kevin already, or not Kevin, I'm sorry. Jeremy clocked her in the previous swap for, being with Caleb and being like a well-connected person. And also he knows her from Power Grab, so he knows how she plays. Um, but she was able to charm, I think she was able to charm Jeremy, and Jeremy was dangling this carrot in front of us to potentially, get Aaliyah on a flip to take out Bryant or Kevin. Um, she, you know, looking at round seven for a second, she's guaranteed merge, so that's good. She can reunite with people. Like her and Caleb reuniting is perfect for her, even though it might actually be bad, but she has a good number. She has Caleb and Mikey, so that's good for her. But this tribe, um, the Bryant Kevin read on her was horrible. Like you described it perfectly. Like Tommy would be the one to do it quicker, but Aaliyah would be the one to execute it correctly to do a counter resistance against them. Um, but I like the move of I feel like her and Jeremy are on better terms. I believe it was this round they created a three-person alliance. Oh, I was that this round?
They
That may have been
made
this round.
they made a three-person alliance: Aaliyah, Jeremy, Tommy. I think Tommy. This is literally the point that I'm making. Like I think Tommy pitched that as a crew because they wanted to
Oh,
swap tribe together. But then round seven, there's an Aaliyah, Jeremy, Mikey chat, which I think is partially good work on Aaliyah's end, but I think that's
which is from
more
this round.
yeah.
So, I mean, she was in danger, but at the same time, she was able to get this connection with Jeremy in a better position than what it was. Um,
She was the second most trusted, was she not?
Hold
But
on. I was
but
looking
that's
at her stock for last week. We gave her
that's
a seven.
And just to confirm, yes, she was. But also that's considering Jeremy's like frustrated trust rankings that put Tommy at one.
His trust rankings are so funny.
I assume this is meant to be inverted. Just like if it was to be realistic, and then if that's the case, then maybe she's still like maybe like she's third, which
Hmm.
is salvageable, which considering that's on top of anybody from the bananas is pretty impressive. When in theory they should all just be like one and twos to each other, and as long as they're not being like very clearly obvious that they're working together, they should at least get decent numbers from everybody else. But yeah, no, I've been Leah's also very tricky because it's like no fault of her own. She did survive this tribal council. Now we know that she for sure she's safe the next round as well. I am going to
And she got no votes.
And she still had no votes, even despite Mikey having the power and having to vote in the minority, which like she wanted to put his vote on Aaliyah anyways. It was 4-1-1. Um,
Hmm.
I will give her. I'll give her a six. I was contemplating a five for a good chunk of that, but I do think I came around to giving her a six. Um,
I'll give her the five because I was
that's
really
fair.
debating. It's like a five close to six. It's really hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I like what she's doing, but it's like because she was a target, I have to dock her points. But she's planting seeds as we've been saying.
Hmm
And so maybe next round her score will go up.
Right,
But
like And
And I didn't
considering
want her to leave whatsoever. I would have been mad if she would have left.
I also would have been mad for like I considering that there was some fracturing going on in the bananas that might not be like this insurmountable obstacle for her. She might be recruited to be what takes them down ultimately at the end of the day. She might
Hmm.
be she might be the ringleader, I think she would want to be, but I don't think that's ideal. Um but we move on over to Mikey. Did you want to go first? Did you have any?
Yeah, I can. Mikey was fourth in trust rankings this round, but it's kind of like we said last Stockwatch. We're seeing improvement from Mikey in being active, which is one of the biggest things. He has Aaliyah in here, so he has an automatic number one, which is what he was needing. And what kind of got ripped away from him with Morgan. Um, Obviously he built something with Jeremy, so that's good. Tommy rated him low, but and voted for him. But so that was actually good that they got Tommy out. But also, fun fact for people, Mikey and Tommy submitted the same exact trust rankings. Other than obviously they can't rate it for themselves, but
They
they
just
gave
did
each other
alphabetical order,
fives.
which was funny. I think someone else came like decently close to doing alphabetical order before, and I'm like, I was right there. We swapped these two
Yeah,
people. But no, sorry, continue.
no, you're good. So like I'm like liking Mikey's game more. It's still like he's starting off so late in this game actually playing so that he doesn't have any actual like good connections outside of really Aaliyah, and he's building one with Jeremy. Um, because who else has he been with? Oh, he was with Lily Edward, but Lily obviously wanted him gone. Edward also did want him gone. Um, he now gets, oh, I keep forgetting about J1 and his island. I've kind of just like ignored on it, like just because like he's solely by himself. Um, but him and J1 didn't have a bad relationship, I don't think. I mean, Jay wanted to really keep Mikey. Um, so Jay joining their tribe, I think, is good for Mikey's game. If they can keep that relationship going. But long term, I just see trouble for Mikey unless something happens. But again, his activity level has really helped. Um, so I'm now looking. What did I give him last week? And I always scored him low.
Like,
I'll give him a 4.
hmm, hmm.
He
I
has potential.
it does have potential. Potential. Again, like you said, like he's starting off pretty late. What worries me about Mikey, is that while at least on this tribe of like the three options, he was the safest. It wasn't all due to good work that he had done. It has been the perception, the idea that those three have that Mikey would be the perfect merge boot. And I know that they've talked about, Tommy potentially be, or at least Jeremy has talked about Tommy being the ideal person to fill in that role. They talked about Mikey as well. So like if they had lost again, I don't think Mikey would have gone home. Especially with Kevin now on the switch hunt for who voted for him, like and J1 having already been selling up Aaliyah as this really big and really dangerous player. That Mikey would have been safe off of that. Obviously would have lost Aaliyah, but then would end up going to Live Night presumably being the target of those people. Now, will J1 stick his neck out for him? I don't think so. I really doubt it here. Um, but it makes me worried for his long-term prospects that even like people on the other tribe, thinking that merge is happening relatively soon, talked about Mikey. And granted, some of most of those conversations are happening this round, the round, not round six, the round seven, the round that we're currently in as the time of we're recording this, as like Mikey's like, oh, somebody who I would not be shocked, or like if he had went home, um, it doesn't really have like because there's people who like he could have Lily, you know, like even in spite of the fact that Lily wanted him gone, OG Voulez-vous, um, at least come swap they seem to be on the same page, at least at first, but unfortunately, just due to Ryu's advantage, Lily was forced to vote him. Oh, I guess it's not forced. Lily was forced to do so for her vote to count, but like she didn't need to do it. She wasn't as obligated to do it as Morgan was. But again, this is someone whom on the revote she still voted for, and she had already spent a good chunk of that tribe like bashing and clearly being very upset at, which Edward and Jaewon both know of. That's kind of without Zach and I mean, what the fuck am I mentioning Zach? I'm thinking of the first round. I'm thinking of like, oh, Zach was somebody who really wanted. Yeah, well, Zach is dead. But aside from Jaewon, kind of, and Aaliyah, I don't think he has anybody. And if he shows up and someone doesn't, maybe he ends up being safe because I do think, like you said, like if someone doesn't show up to live night, that's such an easy thing to do. Just get rid of the person that's not on here. Like, no one person can face the brunt of them having been sent home, because they weren't there to be disappointed themselves. Maybe, but I'm going to actually bump him down to a two, because I do think that he is in a lot of danger and is being set up for a placement. Aaliyah was wonky because Aaliyah, if they had lost again, I think would have gone home over Mikey. So in the short term was safe. Was short term was in more danger than he was. Well, good on Mikey for that. He would have survived another tribal council and finally would have gotten his vote back. Or at least not finally and not long finally is no longer binded by the class's disadvantage. You have to vote in the minority. But in the long term, if they didn't go to tribal council, which they did not, Aaliyah should not be the merge boot, whereas Mikey should be. And I do see someone like a Ryu who clearly made this big play with the plumb bob, might wanting Mikey out as well, or and Edward potentially wanting Mikey gone, and people like Sanam and Caleb and Sergio, who I haven't met him yet, feeling no up. Oh, actually, no, I lied. Sanam and Caleb haven't met him. Sergio has. Like Sanam and Caleb of it all, not having met him, feel no obligation to keep him around, unless Leah gets to Caleb. But yeah, I give him a two.
Um, I think that Mikey is just really interesting because he does have this perception of being inactive, but it's from people who met him early on. And so I think that things for him could turn around if he survives the live night. And Mikey can win an immunity. Um, he's not like I I don't know how big of a comp threat that he is. But I just know that he can win
He's a
comps.
cop. He's a what's the word I'm looking for? He's a competitor. He's a capable competitor. That was the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Capable. Like
and that's my perception of him. So I think that he could win the live night immunity, and I think that if he can survive the live night, then he could maybe set himself up more in the future if he keeps his activity. But a lot of the points you made are very true for this round. Uh, he doesn't really have anyone outside of Aaliyah. If they were to lose again, I would be worried for him. If they go into merge live night, there are people who would target him. Um, so I think because of that, I'm gonna bump him down to, I'll give him a three.
But yeah, that being said, I'll be the first to talk about Bryant, who we just had inducted into the contenders, but which has been a very dangerous spot to be because for from round two onwards, someone we would have on the contenders list would immediately be bumped down off of the contender spot. And I would argue it's Bryant's here. I don't because we inducted Jeremy and Bryant as new contenders, but Bryant gets reunited with J1 here, which is great. He's really working on that relationship, planting that seed. Kind of having J1 as his number one. I think did a lot of good work at the swap and has a really good headspace as to how to tackle this alliance. But now he's not alone in wanting, in already preparing and to take shots at the bananas because Jeremy was also considering it, and with Bryant being a very integral reason for that. Bryant, despite, and the reason why I think getting rid of Tommy is contentious for Brian, is because like Bryant himself said the whole tribe he trusts Aaliyah the least. He could have forged this bond with Jeremy, kind of like supporting his like read of the whole situation, be like, yeah, you're right. Aaliyah is clearly dangerous. Jawan was warning me, come swap about her as a player. They could have said, let's put the cogs in motion and say, fuck Tommy, fuck Mikey, let's get rid of Aaliyah. Which I guess from like a to piss off the least amount of people to make the least amount of waves, I can understand gunning for a Tommy. Because clearly with Aaliyah and Mikey both offering Tommy up on basically a silver platter. They want to be upset with Tommy going home, despite the fact that Aaliyah has played this entire game with Tommy, and Tommy would have been probably undyingly loyal to her long term. Getting rid of Mikey would have not pissed off Tommy, but pissed off Aaliyah, and then getting rid of Aaliyah would have pissed off both Mikey and Tommy, which at least one of them should be at the merge. But I, I do think that with Tommy, he was waiting to link up with the DCP people. He was waiting to link up with Brian. He was looking forward to meeting Lily in the game. And when he gets voted off, feels very betrayed by Bryant specifically. And being like, Bryant, too, like, what? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, da, da, da. And I felt like with now, it's so weird because my biggest thing that I've been selling up Bryant is that, like, while Sanam, Kevin, and Jeremy seemed very locked in with the bananas of it all, Bryant is prepared to jump ship when it's necessary. I think Bryant is being very patient. He's biding his time. He could make an erratic and very crazy decision, but unless his hand is forced to, wouldn't do it early. And if his hand is not forced to, then he will have the power himself as to do this or not. But now there's already shots still being taken in the bananas themselves by Jeremy, contemplating taking a shot at. I'm guessing it would have been Kevin, so like that's at least a good thing for Bryant. Um, I mean, but then now I'm kind of also questioning who would Bryant recruit like to take a shot hypothetically down the road? Because like he in his mind, is the fourth of this group. And unless he can very clearly just point out who the third, I mean, I guess he believes it's Jeremy because he thinks Kevin and Sam are as close as they are. So maybe he could like loop in Jeremy. Of course, he has J1 and he has this connection with Lily, assuming Lily makes it to the merge or makes it to that point to do that. But I'm like, who else does Bryant have to potentially make this move? And if Jeremy, Sonam are being more sociable than him, then other people are going to be like, if they do look at Barav, he's going to look at this guy that either they don't know from pre-existing games or he's not really talking to as much. So I'm a little worried for Bryant. I am going to give him. I'm between a 6 and a 7. I'm going to give him a tentative 6. Very different reasons as to why I'm giving it to Aaliyah. I could bump him up to a 7 if convinced. I actually not fine. I'm actually going to bump Bryant up to a 7. I do have some concerns with Bryant now that I'm kind of starting to question. Like, I know he wants to do it, but like the question is, who is he going to use? Maybe he does end up using Aaliyah down the road and be like, look, you don't trust me, I don't trust you, but like we have a mutual goal and we both benefit from doing this. We can't win the game unless we take care of this threat out. So maybe that's the case. But how do you feel about Bryant?
I'm gonna need Bryant to not watch this section of the video because I might be glazing him and he's not allowed to see this. Here's the thing. what we also aren't discussing is the fact that he used his legacy advantage this round, but that is a very Brian Brandt move to make. That is how he got me out in DCP. He had this idol in his pocket. He wanted it gone so that because people knew that he had something, but he wanted that target off his back. So he plays this legacy advantage. He didn't need to, but obviously, like if Jeremy got his way, he maybe did need to. But he got that on the way, so now his threat level is diminished because he used this advantage. But what Bryant does is he will find his way to the middle and people will come to him. That's what happened to DCP. And I'm just gonna because that's I'm gonna keep comparing it to that because that's really like his only long-term game. Um, so I think that Bryant's identified that Kevin Snam are these head honchos and needs to target them. I think that he will do work to get like on everyone's good side so that they will trust him and see him as a number that they can use to take the shot at people. And then by doing so, he'll be able to flip-flop however he wants and make it far in the game. Now, this is just total projection, and I don't know this will actually happen. Again, I'm basing this off of his DCP game, and that's kind of what he did there. And he was able to do it successfully, getting fourth um in that game. And like he got fourth place because he lost the Final Four immunity in a tiebreaker. So, um, if he can maneuver this correctly, I see long-term potential for him. And I think that if he and Jeremy actually talk and get on the same page of like, hey, we actually don't like the bananas. Like Kevin Sanam, I don't trust them. Like I was just going along with it. So, but I'm fine with targeting them. I think that would help. Um, but his read on Aaliyah was just completely wrong, as we've said. Um, but he still has the stun gun, which is really good. No one knows about it. I don't think he'll randomly burn that. He will only burn things that are public. So that's I think he'll hold on to the stun gun for as long as he can. Um, but I don't know if I mean, it probably would have been better to get rid of Aaliyah, but then I think that they run the risk of going back to tribal right away if you have Tommy on your tribe, because Tommy and Ryu are like comparable in that sense more than Jeremy and Ryu, especially like in this game. Um, so I mean, they were risking Tommy gaining an advantage and then not being able to vote him out potentially. Um, but I don't hate what Brian did this round. The Aaliyah thing was questionable. What did I give him last round? I'm almost there. I gave him a six. Um, I'm gonna stick with the six. It's like a 6.5 where like it's like probably like 6.5 something to where it's like trending upward and I'm positive on his game. I just need to see more of it evolve and I want him to do like a little bit more for me to get him a higher score, but I still like it.
It's like I mentioned earlier, like how like this round like on paper like could have been boring, but the journey was interesting. Like the
Mhm.
way we got to the time he vote off, the lead up was very fun. Bryant couldn't game couldn't be it's scary because Brian's game can be that. It could be this journey of like, will he, won't he? But he's like the Laurel from Ghost Island, and he just never makes this move. He's aware from very early out that he should make this move, but he just does not pull
Yeah.
that trigger. But the way that he's talking about it so methodically and like clearly he's a very intelligent guy. I feel like he will, sorry, eventually take that shot. Now he could be like a Jesse from 43, where the second he makes this move and he kind of exposes himself and like magically everyone wakes up the next day and be like, Oh, Jesse's like a god. Like that's essentially what happened when like Jesse took out Cody in 43. You know, this could be a similar thing whenever Brian makes this move on a Sanam or a Jeremy or a Kevin, you know, whomever he decides to target. I do agree that he should link up with Jeremy and lock in that as a duo as well, you know, because they might share in some of these frustrations. And Jeremy, I mean, Brian could easily just be like, look, I was just playing along just because I like because I know Tommy, like I know him outside of this, like I don't know if I could have voted. I don't know. It's like I do think that there's ways to move forward, and I have lots of hope in Bryant. But we move on to Kevin. Um, you go if you like to go. You could go first for Kevin, and I'll go first for Jeremy when we do Jeremy.
Um, I mean, Aaliyah was in danger, so was Kevin. But, if Jeremy could have really gotten his way, I gonna say it would have been Kevin who left this round. So Kevin's really lucky that Aaliyah didn't express like truly like what her long-term thoughts in the game were because Jeremy would have dropped a bomb on her and a like a truth bomb on her and would have I love I have many issues with How I Met Your Mother, but one of my favorite analogies that they use is the glass breaking when it's like you realize something and it's like, oh shit. And like you just connect all the dots. Um, that could have happened to Kevin this round. Um, and Kevin's kind of been you would say that him being in the majority, I say that in air quotes because of the banana, the banana dilemma, that's been going on this entire game. Um, he has always been in the majority position, so he hasn't had to scramble as much. He hasn't had to try to make new connections with people. And I think that's kind of hurt his game really overall. Um, so I'm like, I didn't love his game this round. He really like it's kind of like what you said about his season three game. He had the grip on it and then slowly let it loosen over time, didn't build anything new. So I didn't love anything that he really did this round. Um, I think I'm kind of debating between two numbers. Um, I'm gonna give him a 4 for now, but it could change.
Because I was waffling between 4 and 5, perhaps.
That was me.
Okay, good guys. That's where I was at too. I love how we're so in sync. I just love, but no. So Kevin is. Like Kevin has all of the like you said, like all like Brian perceives like Kevin and Sam as this duo. Like he might end up with all of the negative connotations that come with being perceived as like the head honcho of anything, being the leader, being whatever, without any of the grip or the authority or the intuition of said figurehead. You know, like when someone may reference a side, they may say, "Oh, Kevin's side" or "Shanam's side" or whatever. But like Sanam, people are targeting her because she's as good as she is. Like people are targeting her because she's a very charming person. She's clearly going to be very dangerous long term, and some people just are her just in hypnotic. So like I get that, I totally understand that. Kevin won't be targeted for that, but I think Kevin might be targeted because he's clearly obviously not on their side. And like you said, it's like I don't think he's done enough to kind of build anything outside of the bananas and J1, and that's it. Like the bananas are slowly starting to look less impressive and start to look more like mush. And Kevin, I don't think is going to realize that in time if that does come. And he might be on the receiving end of the banana squash. I think that Kevin this round has shown a lot of his weaknesses as a player. He is a yapper. He is talkative. Bryant's citing that he doesn't trust Kevin, believe Kevin interrupts him too much. We have multiple people after the challenge from the other tribes saying, "Damn, Kevin is annoying," and we see immediately after tribal council, Kevin saying, Oh yeah, it's so obvious Aaliyah was the one who fucking threw the vote at me. It's just because I mean, I guess maybe if it's Mikey, but like Jeremy instantly was like, I think it was Mikey because if only he knew the bullshit that Aaliyah has had to deal with Tommy, then no one would ever question if Aaliyah actually voted for Tommy or not. Because Aaliyah was one of the first people to push it. Like it was probably the most vocal of everybody about please get rid of Tommy. But that's another. It's like I get like the rationale. It's like why would Mikey throw a vote if he's the other name? Um, and it's like I get that. Granted, he could be just like to stir up some chaos, maybe try to like, oh, it wouldn't be Mikey. Mikey voted with us, but now there's a traitor amongst us, so we can't look at Mikey right now. It's like there's reason without considering Mikey's disadvantage. Um, yeah, no, and now with like the Jeremy of it all, the Bryants of it all, and considering how much in danger Sanam is, high key actually, I was gonna give him 4 or 5 actually. Now I've talked myself into bumping him down to 3 because I think that let's say his team, his alliance wins out. His team, just like in season 3, they run the table. They make up the people in the end game. I'm also starting to now with the jury on the horizon. I'm starting to question what Kevin's win equity would look like. And I do not think it would look good because in the world where he does ride this out with his alliance, I think there's arguments for the other 3 having agency and at different points wanting what the alliance decided to get. And I feel like Kevin would either be someone whom lots of people target because Kevin has no interest in working with people not that he's already not linked up with. Um, I do worry about him at Merge, just because multiple people are talking negatively about him from the other tribe. So he's basically now forced to. It's like an impossible situation. Like either he needs to like speed run the process of getting close to someone, not from the bananas or J1 to be safe, or he in the world where Mikey gets sent home at Merge is now forced to work with the bananas and eventually like ruin his win equity as a result. Um, yeah.
I kind of want to, when you were speaking about Kevin, I was like, damn, you're right. I kind of want to change him to a 3 also. Because like he really just like doesn't have the connections that he thinks he does. And I forgot about the reaction to him post challenge. Like he was like the Ryu of that round of people's reactions. Or you can say Ryu was the Kevin for round 7. Um, and it's like, oh, it was so bad. People are just were really annoyed by him. But yeah, he doesn't have a bright future. I am worried for him. Um, Also I think I will change Caleb to a 9. Just like comparing everyone else's game, Caleb's just playing so well. My final thought before we go to Jeremy was just it's like you were kind of saying earlier. If you were to tell us a couple of rounds ago that we'd be giving like Kevin and Sanam these scores, and if you were to look at this like in a graph, like a line chart like they do on actual RHAP, and you just see them just going down, like we'd be like, what are you talking about? Like Kevin and Sanam should be like where Caleb is. Like,
And like below
no.
Sergio, like too,
It blows Sergio.
like the compare, like they're competing against like Ryu and like Mikey and Tommy for like these low numbers, but it's just like short-term like that's like the short list of people I think would be in most danger, like come like a merge or any type of thing. We'll see again. We'll see how this tribal council on Reluve goes. If they
Yeah.
successfully get rid of Sanam with an idol in her pocket, man, will I be clowning the fuck out of her if she gets sent home. However, I also am going to be really worried for Kevin's long-term prospects because it's
Agree.
like he has not even great relationships with the people within the bananas either, aside from Sanam. Like he has Bryant and Kevin, Jeremy both separately saying not even to each other, just themselves. Like they need to do something about the bananas with Bryant and Jeremy, with Kevin being the subject of ire of both Bryant and Jeremy. But speaking of Jeremy, I not gonna lie, man. I might do my Xander cosplay. I might do it and give this man the Emperor Bullbacks or whatever the hell he. Remember when Xander
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
giving them the
yeah,
money
yeah,
and
yeah.
give him a 10? Because I genuinely think Jeremy deserves it because for us, here's the thing. Because I forgot that Jeremy Carson is Jeremy Carson. And he did the thing last season with Rachel Roth and just completely just blew up the game to smithereens for absolutely no reason. Playing the idol not on himself when he got sent home, but on the person who was supposed to be voted off by his tribe, um, which is insane. So like clearly he has the capabilities of doing crazy things for no rhyme or reason. However, just his read on the game I think it's incredible. I think he's a really smart and astute player. I really don't think I've disagreed with anything he expresses to us in his project as far as strategic reads on the game. Now, do I believe that him taking the shot at Bryant or Kevin this round would have been stupid? Oh, 1000% it would have been. Ultimately does not do this because Aaliyah, and it's very contingent on Aaliyah saying, or at least not giving him what she wants because she's like, Aaliyah's clearly not thinking long term or thinking beyond just this round. Otherwise, maybe he would have gone through with it. And he said he was stalling. Like he was waiting for that opportunity to drop the truth bomb of it all. But he immediately goes back to having smart reads. Like, because I agree with him. I agree that Aaliyah is the most dangerous person of Aaliyah, Mikey, and Tommy. The rationale to target Tommy over Aaliyah has many holes in it. Even just from the like Bryant understanding, oh yeah, Tommy is this chaotic, messy player. We got to get rid of him. But then, why would I be more scared of Tommy, who I trust more than Aaliyah, making a group to come for me? Like it might come for like again to talk about Bryant again. It's like Tommy could have been the person Bryant used to take a shot at the bananas. Like he could have been, like that. That definitely was a very viable option right there. Jeremy gets rid of Tommy, who Tommy has been gung ho about like for a good chunk of time wanting Jeremy gone. Um, like during the swap tribe. So that was a potential adversary off the board for Jeremy. He still solidifies his alliance with the Bananas. He links up with J1. He's able to kind of pick up some of those pieces that Kevin and Bryant kind of set up for Jeremy. Um, Keeps Aaliyah and as like Aaliyah, Mikey, and Jeremy have an alliance now. So it's like he's basically going into merge, which like granted, he wants Mikey gone, but like at least has something tangible with Aaliyah as like a bond. Has the hopefully will be intact alliance of himself, Aaliyah, Caleb, and Edward. So he has lots of options, and some of the people he hasn't met, I think, can through his allies forge good relationships with, like through Edward, he might buy in with Lily. Through Caleb, maybe he might pacify Ryu for a couple rounds. And if Jeremy could kind of get into his ear and just be like, look, man, lots of people, and he's already talked about wanting to use Ryu as a shield long term. I think using his relationships with Aaliyah and Caleb might be his means of doing that. Um, the problem is, will he contemplate doing something stupid like this again? And if so, which Megan, darn you, Megan, because she definitely played a role in talking him down from this, which is why I don't like prod members giving them advice directly about the game. Because if he did this, this would have been amazing. But I have to give him benefit of the doubt. Assuming he is playing optimally from here on out with the reads that he's given us, he should be a 10. But like the fear of him doing something that haphazard down the road does concern me. So I can't give him the 10, although I'm really tempted. And man, I have been tempted a lot of times throughout the series, but I have to like control myself. I might. But yeah, honestly, Jeremy doing good. Made the right choice at the end of the day.
See, Jeremy for me has been a contender for a while, and he's been like in the back of my mind, like, wait, the perception of Jeremy from season 4 was, this, like you mentioned, he did all this crazy shit, and we were kind of expecting that. but he's played like more like of a level-headed game this entire time. And then obviously like this round, he wanted to blow shit up. Um, but I mean, you're Sergio, like fan, I forget what you said, truther. That's how I'm feeling about Jeremy. Like, I'm really liking the game he's playing. Um, it's everything you said is correct. I mean, I think that the only people he hasn't met yet is Lily. He hasn't met Ryu
And Sergio, I think. I
and
think that's it.
Sergio. So him and Ryu meeting up. Oh shit, that'll be interesting. I would be interested to hear Lily's perception of him. But also, hold on, I don't think this was talked about. He was ranked number one in trust rankings. Like,
He ate that shit up.
what? I can't believe that. I mean, I think that's hard to give anyone a 10 in the game this early because I think you really have to see them all play together before you can give a 10. But Jeremy seems to be like quietly in control of this tribe and could really do whatever the fuck he wanted. So, because he's quietly in control, I think he deserves the 9.
I think you bring up an interesting point. It's like Jeremy obviously contemplating this was I like that he's being fluid and he's not just going to just ride out just the banana strong all the way to final four. I don't believe he will, and I'm happy. I'm
I
happier
don't think he
for it.
will either.
But obviously him contemplating doing as heavily as he was, even up to like out while I'm at work, I'm asking y'all, did he do it? And you guys said no. Like all that build up for nothing. But like
I was
it
pissed
is
at that.
it is the like as a note as I am like oh TTV whatever. Don't tease us with a good time and not deliver on said good time, Jeremy. How dare you? But like it is the correct move to make. I do agree with the decision he made at the end of the day. So it's like, do we assume Jeremy will operate under just sheer rational strategy all the way through? Do I think that there may be a mistake or maybe some impromptu fuck it we ball moment that's imminent in his future? Definitely. But he has these tools, like you said, like he's quietly in control of this tribe. And he could have, considering he had this and been, like hanging this carrot over our heads, like we're like on a treadmill trying to chase this damn carrot down. He had the power, had the connections, and had done the work to be able to pull something like that off. And maybe considering he's already talking about weighing out who can be potential meat shields moving forward, he might lose some social, what's the word I'm looking for? He might some social capital, like by trying to protect people like a Ryu, like a whomever. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about Jeremy. But with that, wait, unless you have anything else before we get into naming our contenders that you want to say about the cast at large.
I mean, I think that Jeremy definitely will do something like, um, I forget the word he used, but like he'll just do, one of these random shenanigan things because he almost did it this round. Um, and I think he's dying to do it. So I'm like really waiting for him to do it. But I think when it happens, like it could paint a target on his back, but I am just so like I'm missing like Jeremy's missing me in like his game. So I'm like hopeful that like it won't paint too much of a target on his back when he does it because maybe he could use like a Ryu to be the one who takes the brunt of the target and just make his target even larger. So I think the chaotic Jeremy we're wanting to see is coming. We just have to wait like a little bit longer for it to be unleashed.
I think that, I mean, I'm really excited to see it, because ultimately, like he was. I mean, a big character like during his original season, and he already started off like that. Like we're still seeing him do these underhanded things like publicly. Like I feel like he has like that itch he wants to scratch, like of what like, he wants to blow shit up. He wants to do something big. He wants to do something. So it's like, but he shows like these like the like he's able to like calm himself down, like to control like these like basically like not act on his like intrusive thoughts essentially. But so I am choosing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And once that happens, and he inevitably, if he does do something like that, then I will never make him a contender ever again. If he just does something just like equal to the Rachel Roth thing, unless he's at like final five with win equity. Like I'd be very like hard to convince to put him back up there. Um, but as the final part of our podcast, we have to rate the players, and potentially name our four new contenders for this round. Um, do you have people you immediately want to cross off? I feel like the Stockwatch implies who we should, but like, what are your first instincts? Like,
Um,
we need to take these people out. Like, no way should they be top and top, touching top four.
I think Kevin shouldn't touch top four.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey shouldn't touch top four. Ryu Sanam.
Oh yeah, true. Both of them. I don't know why I skipped Ryu and went straight to.
Yeah.
I guess she does have like the worst. Actually, let me double check. No, she does not. She's tied with Kevin, worse than Mikey though. Better than Mikey though. So yeah, those are the worst stocks there. Everyone else has is averaging at least fives or above. Um,
Probably J1, Edward,
and Sergio, I feel.
Aaliyah, and
Oh well, if we get rid of Leah, then that's just.
that's. I think we have to keep the top four.
I feel like yeah. Honestly, I love how we just like boop boop boop. Wait,
Yeah,
we just basically gave to a
but I
top
think the
four.
order changes.
I do think they were. I still think Caleb at one.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I'm thinking Bryant four,
I agree.
Lily three, Jeremy two.
I could see that. I can also
But it
argue.
pains me to put Lily that low.
I could. This is the lowest Lily has ever been. No, no, Lily's downhill from here.
Uh,
Her descent into madness. But no, like honestly, I do agree with this top four. I could also argue, or also be a little apprehensive to bump him up that high because last time we gave someone second just out of nowhere was Ryu, and we all know what happened with Ryu. So
I mean,
I,
I'm open to making him three. Like,
I mean, but that was my first instinct just based off just like how well he played this, like how much control he has this round and how many connections he has going into the merge. Whereas like with Lily, still an uphill battle. I don't think she's going to be the one controlling the vote and still has to play the game of like
no.
trying to like appease Reeve and like
She is more like what I think Bryant wants to be.
mhm,
She's way more of a middle person who could sway side to side on where she votes, and
mhm.
people can use her as a number, and she can get by week to week without people really noticing. Um, and people think that and maybe realize too late that they should have gotten rid of her sooner.
And we'll see how well that fares for them both. This has been the Spellbound Survivor Stock Watch. I'm Jacob Armstrong. This is Jared Voorhees. Next time we see you, two people would have gone home. We have one last person going to be the pre-juror, and we're going to have Jared finding out who he's placement twins with from this season. But can't wait to see how that all unfolds. But good night, everybody.